How's it going, guys? Pat here with S&S Archery. I had a couple requests to do a video on adding and removing pins from a black gold sight, so that's what we're going to be doing today. This is one of our S&S built black golds, but this will be the same procedure you do for any of the non-micro adjust pins. The micro adjust pins are totally different, but for a non-micro adjust housing, this is going to be a quick video showing you how to add, remove, or move pins. Just as a fair warning to anybody who gets really frustrated doing, difficult, small, complex things, this is not by any means, it's a pretty simple process, but it doesn't mean that it's easy. What we're gonna have to do is you can see the fibers coming through here. They come off the pin into this channel and run up this channel, through that hole, into here, and then wrap around here, all without popping out and all without having the rest of the fibers pop out. So I'm gonna try to show you as best I can the easiest way I've found to do it, but in reality, there really is no easy way to do it. It's almost always a little bit of a struggle. So just don't do it if you don't have, the time to sit down and do it. It's taking me up to 20 minutes sometime to add one pin if you're having a real rough time with it. So the first step here is just gonna be loosen the screw that's holding the pin in place. We're gonna get rid of this middle pin. You can see it wiggling. I'm gonna make this pin, or this sight, all green pins. So I'm gonna remove that. Pretty easy. Just going to use the right size, obviously, Allen key, and screw it all the way out until the pin releases from the screw. Just set that down, don't lose it. And then the pin itself is free, and you can really just kind of get a hold of it and slide it out, and that fiber will pull itself free. So there we have what was our yellow pin. Going to be replacing it with this green fiber, same thickness. This is the part that can get, by far, a little bit tricky. So the first thing I do is I take this screw all the way out and just set it aside for now. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the natural curve of that fiber to help slide it into that channel. You can see right there where the pins sit, right? All the fibers are coming up into this channel. So what I'll do first is ignore the pin, but just try to take the fiber itself and slide it in there. And if I can, there's usually a little bit of a gap right there, like you see. I'll actually try to get the fiber to come out. So I'm letting it come out that little gap. We're going to pull it through and then get the pin situated where it should be. All right, so this is going to be a middle pin. There are front and back pins. I'm just doing this to demonstrate. So normally I'd replace this with a front pin, but this is going to have 3 backs just the way we're doing it. So once you have the pin roughly in place, there is like a little square channel. You can kind of see right here. You're going to get that the pin into that square channel so that it lines up. I just use my finger to kind of hold it in place, and then we're going to add the screw back in. Probably gonna have to loosen these other ones up here a little bit and just make some room for the other screw. I'll just slide this pin down. Okay, so with the pin in the channel, I'm just gonna take the screw on the Allen key here and try to get it started. These are really small threads, so you just wanna be careful that you don't cross thread it. Just go super easy, you shouldn't have to force it at all. And then just get it roughly in place. So we've got our middle pin in place, slightly screwed in, and we've got our fiber going up through the channel like the rest of them, but we still have to get it into this top one. And the best thing that I've found to do with this is to try to loosen this piece, this square piece here of the photochromatic shell, and lift it up just enough off the housing that you can slip this underneath and wind it around and kind of slip it in there. You really want to try to keep these fibers inside and contained. If they slip out, it's going to be a lot harder. You can see there's actually a post right here that helps keep them on the outside. So if you can, wrap it around that screw for sure, but just do your best to keep everything contained while you're doing it. So I'm going to give it a crack here. So we're just going to loosen this screw up just enough that we can get just enough that we can lift that square up, but not so much that it comes totally loose. And at the same time, we're going to try to slip that fiber underneath. Slip that fiber underneath. I'm already getting some of the pins sliding out. I can tell this is going to be a rough one. Like I said, there is no really easy or good way to do this. You've just kind of got to get it done. Okay, so I've got it basically all the way in. Everything's fully contained except for this last little piece. Trying to get it underneath there has been a kind of a nightmare, trying to get that last little bit in. You just want to be careful with the fibers so you don't damage them. When you get it close like that, sometimes you can take like an Allen wrench or something and just kind of push them under that last little bit. Something sharper works better. Boom, that just popped in. And now I've got to get these over here on the side to slide back in as well. Okay. Cool. Putting some downward pressure on this helps once you get those in there. And then we're just going to tension this guy back up. The last thing we want to do, guys, is just give everything like a really good once over and make sure all the fibers are contained, that this is down tight, that everything's routed up through here correctly. You can see right there, that's the end of the fiber optic, gathering plenty of light. Yeah, so like I said, this is a pretty simple thing to do, but it doesn't mean that it's easy. It can get really frustrating, especially if those fibers, pop out and you're trying to wind them all around. The 10,000ths are a little bit even more difficult to deal with just because they're so fine, so small, they can slip out easier. But just make sure you're loosening this square piece of the photochromatic shell just as much as you need to slip that wire underneath or that fiber underneath. But yeah, that's it. If you guys have any questions or need help with anything else like this, guys, shoot us an email, give us a call. If we don't pick up, we're probably on the mountain.